Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Fouché. I'm the editor of Grown In. And today we are doing our webinar, our monthly webinar. And today it's how's legal delivery going? And I'm going to introduce our two panelists in a minute. But first, I want to talk about our lovely sponsors who are helping make this possible. Our first is with national experience with high-end retail and secure industrial facilities, Englewood Construction is a practical choice for cannabis facility construction. Our stable of diverse and equitable partners lets Englewood Construction create your vision anywhere in the United States. And then also, Grown In Learning provides required compliance and competency-based training for multi-state cannabis corporations and independent operators. How can Grown In infuse this intelligence into your cannabis corporation? Visit grownin.com/learning to schedule a demo. So our panelists today are Phil Smith. He is the executive chair of Freshly Baked, a micro business based in Taunton, Massachusetts. It was founded in 2018 by Phil and his business partner, Jenny Roseman, two disabled veterans who recognize cannabis to be an effective way of managing PTSD associated with their service to our country. The company was built to be a force for positive impact in the community and to increase access to cannabis for all. Jerry Millen is the owner of Greenhouse in Walled Lake, Michigan, and has been involved in Michigan's cannabis community for over 15 years. He's been a grower, a caregiver, and an advocate. Jerry was a member of the community that spent years lobbying the state, first to get the medical marijuana program created back in 2008, then recreational a decade later. He had his hands in the soil and paid his dues for years, as you were just talking about a bit ago, Jerry. Everyone, here's how we're going to do it. I'm going to start off with some questions that I'm going to be asking Phil and Jerry, and we're going to talk for a little bit. And if you have questions or comments, please put them in the Q&A or in the chat. We'll be watching those, and then I'll be asking those questions directly of Jerry and Phil as we go along. And also feel free to talk to one another. And Jerry and Phil, if you want to respond to things in the chat, that's cool too. We're pretty loose in terms of how we do all that stuff, but really, really glad to have everyone participating here today. So let me just start off. Both of you guys have different sorts of businesses in Massachusetts and in Michigan. And I'd like to ask you each to just describe what your business is and how it's characterized in your state, because different states have different ways that they're set up. And give me a sense of what percentage of your sales are delivery. So Phil, can you talk about yours first and what you're doing in Massachusetts?
Sure, Mike, and bear with me if my signal is a little weird here. I might have to shut my audio off.
Okay.
Excuse me. My Freshly Baked company is a micro company here in Massachusetts. We have a provisional license for cultivation. We're one of the premier manufacturers in the state. Our gummy is one of the top gummies in the state. And we also have a delivery endorsement. That's the type of delivery license that micro licensees, and social equity applicants are allowed to have here. It's something that I advocated for here in the state for a delivery endorsement for the micros, so we can deliver our own product. And for a Freshly Baked company, our delivery sales are probably about 5% to 10% of what we do. It's very small. We're very new to the market. We were the first recreational home delivery company on the East Coast. So it's something that still is growing, but the bulk of our sales come from our manufacturing side, wholesale.
And Jerry, can you talk a bit about your business?
Yeah, so the Greenhouse in Walled Lake is the first licensed recreational and medical provisioning center. We have to use the word provisioning center in Michigan. We can't say dispensary legally, which whatever, it makes no sense, but it is what it is. So we're the first ones in Oakland County. One of the first couple in the state. Things are going great right now. We just recently launched delivery because I think cannabis being so new, and we strive here to take care of seniors, and we really go after a female clientele, and I want to make sure they all have a great experience. And I use Costco as an example because Costco is such a great customer friendly company that it blows my mind. I've been a Costco fanatic forever because they don't question you if you have a problem, and we take returns back unquestioned pretty much, because we're a new industry and we need to make friends, and we need to let people know that we stand behind our products. So we do delivery. We started probably a month ago. I let all my competition do it first because in Michigan, everybody went crazy. You know, one person does, everybody follows them. Everybody does free delivery. I know some companies have bought 20 cars and they were gonna be the leaders in free delivery. Well, when you figure out what you got to pay somebody, you know, wear and tear on the vehicle, insurance, then you got to have the software for tracking the car. Then every car has to have a cell phone. You know, and being cannabis, you know, we can't write a lot of things off still because of 280E. It gets very expensive. And I first off want to make sure that people come in the store and have a good experience. And that's what's key to me. It's very welcoming. We don't have like a big fancy jewelry store. You're not walking into Tiffany's here. This is more like a Pottery Barn because I want seniors and women to feel comfortable because that customer base is loyal. So I want to make sure they have that experience. And people still have questions. They want to come in because it is still new legally. And so delivery wasn't a main priority for me until I felt like certain medical patients needed it. So then I said, look, the market is getting flooded with free delivery. I want to make sure I take care of my medical patients. So what we did is we launched delivery. I bought 2 cars. And just to give you a tip, buy electric hybrids. And if you buy a Lexus pre-owned car, I just found this out, that they cover it unlimited miles. So if you have a 3-year, 100,000 mile on that use certified Lexus pre-owned, they cover it for 3 years. So I have Lexus delivery vehicles that are EV that are unlimited miles for 3 years, which is phenomenal. So that's just the key. Buy a Lexus pre-owned that's pre-certified by Lexus. It's a great deal.
Fancy
You know,
delivery
so it's like,
vehicle,
like a commercial. Right. But, you know, that helps, you know, because if the cars break down. So we actually charge $5 for delivery because I want to deter people from delivery. And the $5 isn't deterring them, but it's only probably 2% of my sales, maybe 1. You know, we maybe do like 20 a day right now because we can only do so many. And I don't really want to grow it that big yet because I want people to come in and experience, because every day, you know, is a teaching opportunity to the public that we're not, you know, it's not the devil's lettuce. You know, we don't have Cheech and Chong in the store hanging out. It's not that kind of atmosphere anymore. And I think it's real important for people to feel that. So delivery hasn't been, you know, that important, but it was a necessity because everybody else was doing it. So we have it now. But I'm still about, you know, the in-store. And, you know, we have Ease here. Ease is trying to break into the market. They called me and tried to piggyback on my license and offer me some money. And I'm like, no.
So hold on to that for a second. Hold
Mm-hmm.
Hold on to Ease and Lantern and the other ones. I'll
okay.
ask about that in a minute. But Phil, how long have you been doing delivery? You said a year?
No, it was a little over 6 months, about 7 months. So our experience is very similar to Jerry's. You know, home delivery is very expensive to operate. I did the same thing. You know, there were companies that wanted to rush out with a whole bunch of vehicles, and I bought 2 vehicles and I put one on the road. And, you know, there are a lot of barriers that anyone's going to have with delivery, especially with the traditional market. You know, they have delivery on lock. You know, that is the traditional market. People that, you know, and Jerry, you speaking about this earlier, people are loyal to brands, they're loyal to companies, and whether they're legal or not. So, you know, one of my big competitors here is actually an illegal delivery service that was wiping the floor with me. You can even Google them and they're there. They're kind of in the gray market. And I can only get up to about 24 deliveries, and I needed 24 a day to break even. And I was just fluctuating too much between 15 and 24 because I can only deliver my own product. My menu is a hindrance. So I can't even compete with the traditional market menu. I can't compete with their prices. It was just very tough for me to break through, but access is super important to me. So we've cut our delivery hours down in our days because we still have customers that are very loyal to us, that want our products, that can't get out of the house, just veterans that just don't want to leave the house for whatever reason. So the access is still super important to us. But after about 7 months, we were just losing too much money. I don't have working capital. I know it's a part of a lot of folks' story in the industry. You know, we're all self-funded on my own.
We lost your connection there.
I think we lost them.
But I mean, it sounds to me that Jerry, your experience is similar. That you are basically using delivery as a cost center that you know that you have to maintain, just like Phil, in order to be able to demonstrate yourself as a full service, high quality business.
Yeah, and you know, we battle, like Phil was talking, you know, he calls it the traditional market. We call it the black market here in Michigan. And the black market has crazy, huge illegal delivery services. Actually, the Fox affiliate here in Detroit, one of the reporters I know very well, we just did a 12-minute story in a 30-minute newscast, which is a big deal on illegal deliveries here in Detroit. They went and they ordered, had kids order, went back to the source, tested the product. It had heavy metals in it, some pesticides, and they're still allowed to operate in Michigan. I've contacted our attorney general, sent her videos and said, how are you allowing these illegal delivery services to operate? They sell to kids, it's not tested, but I pay you $80,000 a year for a license to be under the microscope by you. But these guys they don't pay fees, they don't do anything. They could harm some people, and they're just running free willy-nilly. And then I got to remember, it's an election year, and that says it all.
I really want to talk about underground. I want to ask just a couple of basic questions, though. What are the most popular products that are often ordered by delivery? I mean, is there a particular kind of order that you get for delivery versus other things?
For us, it's just bigger orders normally. You know, we get I think people like will stock up, you know, if they're going to get delivery. I think they'll stock up for a couple of weeks, but no, I mean, it's cannabis. It all sells. I mean, obviously flower is probably 60% of our sales right now. So, you know, flower it's still, you know, being a delivery.
Yeah, I would agree with Jerry. It's the same thing here. It's always flower. Flower is always king. Edibles are right behind that.
And do you see a fluctuation in terms of the week, you know, when there is more? Is it like pizza? Are you going to sell more on Friday and Saturday, and you know, before the big game you're going to sell more? Is it just like that?
Yeah, I think on our side, yeah, go ahead, Jerry, but it's probably the same as a dispensary. Before the weekend, I mean, before long weekends it's super busy. Before holidays, it's super busy. For freshly baked, it was always the day after the weekend. So like we delivered from Tuesday to Saturday at one point. So Tuesdays were heavy, and then Fridays. So we just deliver on Fridays now because those are heavy days.
Yeah, and then like today's going to be a big snowstorm in Michigan, so I just went downstairs and I see that it looks like delivery's probably full for today because it's people know the snowstorm's coming later this afternoon, so they want to get their cannabis products in before the snowstorm hits. So when weather's bad, that's when it picks up too.
Mike, and I just want to say this back to what we were speaking about earlier. You know, when we first started delivering, we were the first recreational legal delivery company here. And when we were going to doors, I was in the vehicle first, and I was having to convince people that we were actually legal when I was getting to their door. They were so accustomed to all the illegal ones. I swear I have at least 3 people I can remember that would not believe me, and I have a body camera on, and they did not believe me that we were legal. It's very hard to tell the difference.
Why did you wear a body cam?
So per state regulation, our drivers have to wear body cameras. The whole
they gotta wear body cameras in Massachusetts.
Wow,
that's crazy.
That's amazing.
Wow, we don't have to, no body cameras here.
So let's talk about the underground. First off, do you feel price pressures from them as a result?
No, I mean, for us here, you know, the greenhouse here in Walled Lake, no, we don't really. Luckily for us, the price, when people get into price wars or price pressure, it really doesn't affect us, I feel, because it's our clientele. We have a clientele that's not going to go down the street to save $5 because they feel comfortable and loyal here. And, you know, like a big thing for me is the city we're in is a 3-minute police response time. So I have senior citizens work my door. I have elderly women work my front door, you know, because they relate to my customer base better than a guy with a gun or in a security outfit, because it's just that atmosphere. But we don't get, you know, the price, thank goodness, knock on wood, the price thing doesn't really hit us. And the black market here is, how do you say, you know, the people that order from the black market here in Michigan are not going to be the same people that come into a store most of the time.
Okay, I'll put a pin in that one. I want to come back to that.
Okay.
So how about you? I mean, do you feel price pressure and competition?
Oh, 100%. I mean, on top of the taxes, I mean, just the prices in the legal market are just high because it's a high cost for us to operate. So, I mean, I can't compete with, at least here, you know, if you're looking for an eighth, you're anywhere between $45 to $65 an eighth here on the legal side, and that's before taxes. And on the traditional side, you can still get your $20 to $30 eighths, and your high quality is going to be probably $40 without the taxes and any fees. So it is difficult to compete with that market. And a lot of those folks they were given the ability to operate here before rec launch. So when Massachusetts went legal in 2012, they didn't implement until 2000, I believe it was 18. So between then, they gave caregivers the option to grow for folks, and the caregivers did. They started growing for folks that had medical licenses, but then they slowly transitioned into everybody. So, and then after it went legal, like the commission didn't step in and say, hey, you guys need to stop or enforce. So like that's still happening. So, you know, I'm all about the culture and the neighbor who's next door, who's growing some in their basement and they're sharing, they're selling to friends. I don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is that these large scale black market, I'll say it, traditional market operations that are getting products shipped over from California and Oregon. They have warehouses here. They've got 10, 15 vehicles. They're on Google search. Like, I ain't about that.
So, and everyone that's watching, please put in your questions. I'm going to start taking questions from the audience in a little bit. So put them in the chat or the Q&A. So Phil, I'm sorry, not Phil, Jerry, talk a little bit about interaction that you're having with the underground and, you know, maybe directly. I mean, are you having direct interaction with people from the underground? You know, is it...
Well, you know, I started off as a caregiver here in Michigan, and, you know, we had the same thing. We were allowed 6 patients, including ourselves, 12 plants. So 72 plants per person, basically, you know, per group. If you had 5 patients, so 6, so 72 plants. You can grow a lot of weed on 72 plants, and not 6 people is not going to smoke that much weed. So everybody had overages and everybody sold it or whatever. And even the small, I have no problem with the small guys, not at all. But it got so out of control that they were opening up 10,000 square foot warehouses and blowing out hundreds of pounds every other week. And they were selling it on the black market, and we couldn't touch the prices. Well, fortunately now in Michigan, we here at the store have a $20 eighth. You know, we have a 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, all the way up to $60, $70. So we can now compete with the black market. So the black market in Michigan is freaking out because they can't make any money now, because you can go to the store, get it tested, feel comfortable, you know, it's always there, have it delivered, it's tested, or you can try to get it from somebody you know, or the black market delivery, and it's not tested, it's some sketchy guy rolls up. So it's changing real fast here. But, you know, I have no problem with the small guys. I just don't, you know, that I was part of that culture. But, you know, if we're ever going to get to the position that we're going to be accepted by the masses, we have to present ourselves as professional businessmen. And we have guys running around in escorts with weed bags in the back seat, selling it to anybody that calls on their cell phone. That hurts us. And until we can stop that at that scale, we're going to have problems. We're not going to be taken as serious. And, you know, we need our politicians to step up. And it's the election cycle. Come on, let's be honest. They all lie to us. We're going to make marijuana legal on the federal level. Sure you are. We're going to do, no, you're not. And it's an election year now. So the black market, the big guys won't get touched here in Michigan. But fortunately, because the price drops, they are feeling the pinch. Like they're starting to lose it. Like there's a dispo in Michigan that has a sign up that says, their sign that says cheaper than the black market and tested. So they're actually out there telling people on their big sign in front of their dispensary or provisioning center that, hey, we're cheaper than the black market and we have tested product. That's how they're marketing their dispensaries. So it's changing real quick. And I think you're going to see it. You're going to see the black market in Michigan take a haircut real quick.
Phil, do you have direct interaction or experience with the underground operators?
So, I mean, my whole life before it was legal, I bought cannabis from friends who were growing it. I mean, 100%. I mean, there was a time that, you know, one of my boys needed me to help sell some stuff. I was like, sure, I can help you out too. Like, don't have a problem with the small folks that are doing that. Here locally, I have reached out to the black market operators and I've gotten their menus just to know what I was going up against. And I mean, I was impressed. I was impressed with what was on their menu. I mean, if you are someone that can't distinguish my business when on there, I'm telling you, it's the first legal one. When they come to your door and they have products that are in packaging that says tested, and they're, you know, they look like they're real. You can't really tell the difference. You know, it's hard for the consumer. So I think to Jerry's point, as the market is growing here and the prices are dropping, the traditional market they'll see the same problem here. Like we'll catch up here. But you know, to another point that Jerry made is that there are certain clientele that are more likely to go to the traditional side than the regulated side. So it's just going to take some time.
So, Bill, do you have, again, Michigan? We have a huge problem of the black market is taking legal products and are ordering packaging from China. of the exact legal product and selling that from these illegal delivery services.
Wow.
Which blows my mind. I mean, I get offers from China for packaging, even though I don't package, of products that are sold in Michigan. And I was sending to my buddy going, hey man, this is your vape company, right? I go, I just got a thing from China. This is your box. They're offering me to print your box and sell it to me. And you can't stop that, but they're replicating what we do in the legal market to create that confusion.
Sure. Yeah. The stuff that I've seen on the traditional side, it's like, again, it's very hard to tell the difference. I haven't seen anything on the legal side that's also on the traditional market. Maybe it's like some California brands and stuff. Like, I know one of the hottest things around here are those Wonka bars that aren't made anywhere near here. I don't know where they're coming from, but that is heavy on the traditional market here. That's just one product that's everywhere.
It's chocolate infused with THC.
Yeah, but I know it's not from, I don't know who it's from, but it looks real.
Yeah. Some of the underground packaging I've seen is kind of impressive. I want to, before I start going to questions from the audience, I want to ask you guys, you both said the cost of delivery is really high. And, Phil, you said you needed 24 deliveries a day just to break even, and you weren't really able to get to that 24. As the prices of cannabis are dropping, doesn't that make that harder for you to make money on a delivery? So what would you say the biggest challenges are, and maybe what are the prospects for you to be able to, you and others, to be able to run legal delivery services? Phil, you want to start off with that one?
Yeah, sure. I think, here locally, right now, you have to have 2 agents in a vehicle. I mean, I've done hundreds, thousands of deliveries, and I've had someone sitting right next to me just looking at me like I'm silly. Like I was just throwing money away. Why are we wearing body cameras? I have to pay for that here. I have to pay for a body camera for each agent. It's just, on the regulation side, there's so much that we have to do to stay in compliance that it raises those costs. And then the next side of that is the flower and the price, like secondary to the operational costs that it takes to keep it up and going.
So your sunk costs to begin with are so high that the variable cost of the flower that you're making, it's just too much. You're never going to make up that difference, is what you're saying.
Sure. And then the prices are just continuing to drop. I don't grow my own flower right now. I do have a license for it. Once we get the money to build that, we might, but I've been holding out on that just because flower has been taking such a dip. On the distillate side, we do a lot of infusion with distillate, live rosin, and those prices are starting to fall now too.
Are you guys using conversion oil yet? Has that conversation come up yet? Conversion oil?
No, I have not.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
that's what's next.
Yeah. So that's it. I wrote that story about that today. What one processor told me is that you can buy a liter of CBD oil for $200, whereas right now a liter of THC oil is $7,000, and you could convert that over and make a 3,500% profit on that, which is kind of stunning to me. But Jerry, I want to ask you the same question I asked Phil, which is, considering that prices are dropping, conversion oil,
right.
Possibility.
Right.
Considering that prices are dropping and that there's high sunk costs, what is the prospect for legal delivery for you?
For me, we do real well at the store, so we do well enough to where delivery is kind of a loss leader. My competition does it, so I feel like I have to. I know we haven't ran the analytics on it yet because we haven't been running it long enough, but I know I'm going to run it at a loss because when I paid for the car, insurance on a delivery car, because if you do it, you can do the pizza model, but I don't do the pizza model where they bring their own car. There's too much liability and things like that. We own the cars, we insure them. I think it's $4,000 a car just for insurance. And then the software, the tracking software is $1,000 a month. Got to pay the employee. It's a loss no matter what I do. I have a $100 minimum and $5 delivery fee just to offset the loss, but it's a necessary evil. If my competition is doing it, I'm not offering it, then it's going to hurt my consumers' confidence, I feel. So I offer it at a loss, but thank goodness I'm only going to do 20 to 24. I don't ever want 10 cars and 300 deliveries a day because the way we're structured and all the regulations and the fees and, the cannabis tax with whatever we do, I don't see in the near future any way to really make money off of delivery. It's very difficult, and we're so new. People still want to come in the store. So I'll run the one car. If the other one does pick up once in a while, that's as far as I want to go with it until I can see a business model where, yeah, okay, this will make money. But I still want people to come into the store to experience what we do firsthand, because I think that's the education part is so important.
So I want to go to some questions from the audience. One is from Just Insiders. And Justin asks, have you had any security incidents like robbery or theft on home deliveries? And what other security measures would you recommend to be added to make home delivery more safe for delivery couriers? Jerry, you want to start with that one?
Luckily, knock on wood, no, we haven't had any problems yet. You can't stop crazy. That's how same thing with terrorism. You can't stop crazy people. If somebody wants to learn to fly a jet, they're going to spend 8 years learning it and get a job as a Delta pilot. So you can't stop people that are going to want to rob you. You can put people in the car with guns, and if you do that, then we have a shootout, and that's the last thing you want. Is Greenhouse of Walled Lake had a shootout on 8 Mile and DeQuinder over a delivery. My thing is, if somebody tries to rob you, just give it to them. That's all you can really do, because we're cannabis. No matter what, if we get in the news for robbery, it just looks bad. So, to me, stopping short of not delivering, I really don't know, unless you send out, a Mad Max car with a turret on top. I don't know how else you could deter people from they rob armored cars. So how are you going to stop them from robbing a weed delivery? Just don't deliver in a car that's the ice cream truck from Cheech and Chong's Nice Dreams. Just, don't put logos on your car. It's the best thing I can say.
Phil, how about you?
Sure. On my side, we haven't had any incidents at all, nothing even remotely close. But the regulations to markings on the vehicle, like we can't have any markings on a vehicle per the regulations. Our agents have to have body cameras on. I have 2 GPS units in that vehicle. I have a dispatcher that's following that vehicle at all times. We leave the product in the vehicle until the transaction is completed. Then we go to the vehicle and grab the product and bring it back. So everything is made to make it safe. But honestly, on delivery, most of our clients live out more in the suburbs and more in affluent areas. So that's where we're headed. So I just haven't had any problems there.
Let me ask, somebody asked a question, how do we encourage more collaboration between traditional brick and mortar with delivery? But I think that also segues a little bit into services like Ease and Lantern. How have either of you been approached by those companies, and how do you evaluate those opportunities? And Phil, can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Yeah, I actually know Justin Robinson very well from Jersey, who also founded Lantern. I worked very early on with Justin on my delivery service here. We have a partnership with Lantern. I just never launched it. We did about 2 weeks of deliveries in Boston to help each other get up and going. But I was just a little bit too far away from the city, and that's where they wanted to focus their dollars on. But yeah, Lantern was another service we could use. I mean, like Jerry was talking about, Weed Maps, Leafly, all these services cost money though at the end of the day. That's just taken away from the company. So I'm very familiar with them. I know Lantern's done a lot in the Detroit area. I know Justin was out there quite a bit. I know they've got a few partners here in Massachusetts, but again, it's still pretty early. They work with a lot of couriers. I'm a delivery endorsement where I deliver my own product, but they work with some couriers that also deliver through dispensaries with their courier model, and that's what's been more popular for them, I think, on that side.
Jerry, have you had any?
Yeah, I was approached by Ease, and basically they, first off, Michigan is a very tight community for cannabis, through the black market, and a lot of us made it over to the legal market. Some of us did, not all of us. And we kind of take offense to the fact when strangers come in and try to monopolize our industry, and inevitably that's what happens over time, of course, but especially it being so new. So, Lantern came in and Ease came in, and I'm going, these guys aren't going to do well because it's still a culture here and people still want to learn. And a lot of people looked at it as like a slap in the face, and the people that needed revenue jumped on the deals. Ease came in and offered me a great amount of money to come in my store, and they piggyback on my license. They need so much space in my store. And to be honest, I was like, in my conversation with the young guy from Ease, he was a little arrogant. And, sometimes people say I'm difficult. I'm not. I'm a businessman, and I got to do what's best for my business. And if that comes off as, difficult to work with, then so be it. I got to do what's best for my business and my employees. So they came off a little arrogant to me at Ease. And when I kind of questioned them and gave them a little bit of pushback, they just came off arrogant. And I just ended. I said, not interested. I'll do it myself, because I want to control what my dispensary's brand and name looks like out there in the weediverse. So I turned them down. I see their billboards, but I hear none of them. I don't hear any of them are doing very well. Because people are right now. People are if they're ordering delivery from the legal market, they stick with their shop. So ordering from a third party just to get a product, I don't see it happening. And I think it's the market's not mature. Maybe as the market matures, you'll see that happen. But I think they're in too early. And, after reading up on Ease and, some of the hiccups they've had around the country and trying to raise money, I don't think they're going to make it. I'll be honest. I just don't.
Phil, you were nodding your head a lot. Do you have similar kind of experience?
Yeah, I had early conversations with these two while they were out here. They do have an arrogance to them.
That's what I told them.
You do, but they definitely do. They weren't interested in really partnering with me. They were more telling me that I wasn't going to be able to do what I said I was going to do, which would be the first delivery company, which I did become.
Okay.
Well, plus, they want to piggyback on your license. I'm like, so wait a minute. So if your guy goes out there and he does something illegal, you're on my license. I worked 15 years to get this license, spent all this money. You're going to come in and give me a couple dollars a month to piggyback on my license? I said, ain't happening. No, there's no way I'm taking that chance.
Do you guys have any thoughts about, you both said that you see that customers, they have loyalty. So you have a underground dealer, you're loyal to that person, versus a store, you're loyal to a legal market store. How do you see crossover at all? And how does that happen? And when does that happen? Why does do you have any ideas on why somebody decides to no longer be buying from their dealer and to start going to a store? Or why somebody stops going to a store and goes to a dealer?
I don't, in Michigan, we have our old G people that they say, I'll never go into a dispensary. I'm like, well, when the black market's dead, because it'll eventually die, let's be honest. When it's dead, what are you going to do? How are you going to get it? Because, let's be honest, growing a plant of cannabis, is not easy. It's a very difficult, tedious process. Making your own gummies at home. Who wants to make their own gummies? It's not easy. And as the prices drop, are these delivery services going to be able to make money? And I think eventually, after the elections are over this next year, I think next year you'll see some of our Michigan politicians step up and say, oh, the black market's a problem. But right now we have 33 caregivers in Michigan. And whenever you say the black market, everybody gets ramped up or like bundled into one ball. Caregivers and the black market. To me, it's two different worlds. Caregivers are people that are trying to do the right thing the right way. The black market is trying to make money and just gouge people who don't care about safety. So you're going to see the black market go away. It's inevitable. It's going to go away.
I hear you, but when do people?
But why are they going? I don't think they cross over. I think people that come here, they would never use an illegal delivery service because they want tested product, number one. And the prices are the same. So I don't know it would have to be a pretty tragic situation for them to leave a store, I feel, and then go to the black market. And the black market people, I think, will switch over when the prices are where they are, because the prices are getting to be just like this. So at the end of the day, do you want a professional, that's like, you want to hire your crazy Uncle Larry that lives in his mother's basement to do your plumbing, or do you want to hire a real plumber if it's the same price? That's how I look at it, because you want a professional. And when it's tested and it's dosed properly, that's professional. And if it's the same price as, the non-professional, why would you not go with the professional?
Yeah, I put it on education, Mike. The more that consumers are educated, then they'll start making the transition over to the legal market, to all the reasons that Jerry said. And it's important for us to keep talking about it. I talk to people all the time. I was at a pop-up at a dispensary because I like to go in and do our pop-ups and speak to consumers. And he was in New York City and he didn't know that he was in an illegal dispensary. And he bought some edibles there and he brought them back and he was talking to me about it. And that 15-minute conversation, I schooled him up on what cannabis actually is, what dosing is, what he was buying, how much. He didn't know anything about that. and he left that dispensary a more educated consumer, and he won't make that mistake again.
So I'll give you an example. One of the some of the illegal delivery services here, they advertise a 400 milligram gummy, and on the Fox story that we did on the Fox channel here, they had it tested. Guess how many milligrams of cannabis of THC were really in that 400 milligram gummy? 18. And it had heavy metals and pesticides. So that's really all you need to know. A lot of these black market guys are just out there. They don't care about people's safety. It's all about the dollar to them. That's what it's all about. They will cut corners. And, you know, I ask our AG all the time, I'm like, what are we going to do when a kid gets a black market vape pen? It's got vitamin E acetate in it, and he has to end up in the hospital. Who are they going to come talk to? They're going to come talk to me because I'm the marijuana guy. You know, they're going to come ask me, how did this happen? And I'm going to be like, it's from the black market. Go ask your politicians and your attorney general why this is happening, because I don't have the answer for you.
So, okay, you guys are giving me all the reasons why the underground market isn't great, but I think what I'm trying to get at is there some sort of a trigger that you see when you talk to customers where they all of a sudden go, oh, now I get it? Is there a particular
just testing? When you testing. That's the biggest thing that when you explain that to them, then they seem to understand.
Only for the right dosage, because that's scary. Like, everyone is scared, whether you have tried cannabis or not. Nobody wants to, you know, get an edible that actually has a gummy that actually has 300 milligrams in it. That's absurd. So it's the education behind it. That's absurd. And then the contaminants that can be in there, that they are finding in there. So, you know, again, it's just education. It's education.
So let's see. I have another question from Corey Martin. As a bootstrapped dispensary operator in Missouri, we're trying to financially justify launching our delivery. Is it worth the investment? How much capital do you anticipate before seeing a return? What is that customer number or delivery amount to support the deliveries? Phil, you want to start with that one? You sort of answered that before, but maybe you encapsulate that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be different in every state depending on your regulations and how you need to operate. So in Massachusetts, we're one of the stricter states when it comes to the regulations. If you're in Oklahoma and they're telling you that you only need one person, you don't really, need to, abide by, stringent regulations on tracking the product or security purposes, I think you're going to be okay. In Massachusetts, for me, I had to hit 24 deliveries a day to break even just for me on that vehicle. I don't know what that will be for you, but I would expect that when you start operating, you will operate at a loss for a little bit. You still have to get the word about delivery. It takes time to scale any business, especially delivery, when folks, like Jerry said, consumers are very loyal to their stores, they're loyal to brands. If you're going to bring them in, it's going to take a little bit of time to educate them.
But besides the regulatory stuff, besides the body cams and those kind of things, you still have the delivery tracking system you got to pay for. You got to pay for the car, and then you got to pay for the employees in order to manage it.
If that state mandates those things, again, like I have 2 GPS units. I don't know what Oklahoma is going to say. So all those expenses, add up.
Mm-hmm. And this is for Missouri. Jerry, do you have any thoughts to add on that one?
If you really, like, the biggest thing goes back to customers and loyalty, and you want them to stick around. And anything you can do to make a customer happy, I feel you should do. Delivery is going to be a necessary evil because this competition is going to do delivery. So figure out a way to roll it out, but do it slowly. Don't do it for free, because once you go free, how do you go back? How do you raise prices when you were free and all of a sudden I'm charging $5? How do you do that? It's very hard to raise prices, because then people are like, oh, you're gouging. They don't realize you're spending $1,000 a month for tracking software alone. They don't understand that. They don't want to hear that. So figure out what it's going to cost you, your insurance, the driver, and figure out what each delivery essentially is going to cost to do, and then see if you can do it feasibly without losing money. But if you can do it, and if it looks like you're going to lose money, just lower the number of deliveries per day, because we can set it to 25 a day or 5. And the consumer doesn't know we only decided to do 5. It just looks like our delivery sold out for the day. So just like when you're doing edible, man, start low and then build up. Don't run out there and buy free cars and do free delivery. And because you're going to find, in my opinion, you're going to find yourself in a mess. Do it, but do it slowly.
And one last question. This comes from Lauren Garcia, who asks, looking back now, what actions would you have done to obtain more delivery clients when you first entered the market? Jerry, you want to start with that one?
You know, I'll be honest, I never wanted to do delivery. I just didn't. I think that because the customer experience is important to me, and I think that's what we need in cannabis, not just some guy rolling up, throwing you a bag of weed and taking the money and leaving. You want them to come in, get educated, understand all the different products you have, how they're used, and then go out and give you a great review, because our advertising is so limited in cannabis. You know, word of mouth is everything, and you don't really get any experience. Like what we do for our deliveries, I had a box made, like a miniature pizza box in our colors with our logo on it. So it's a little bit better of a presentation than just a bag. But at the end of the day, when they come into the store, that's an experience, and they're going to tell someone if they had a good experience. And hopefully that's our goal, to give them a good experience. Delivery is just like go, get your stuff and move. So it's like I keep saying, it's a necessary evil, but you really want to get them into your store. That's the key. Because if you can get somebody into your store 3 times, I think it's John Tapper said that, you get them into your business 3 times, they're your customer for life, as long as you don't piss them off. So that's my motto. Don't piss off your customers.
Have that advantage of having foot traffic that comes in, like Jerry says, where he can get those folks right at his own door. For someone that's just delivery alone, you have to try to get creative in advertising. You know, in Massachusetts, you can only advertise to a demographic that's 85% 21 and over. So, you know, one of the early things I wanted to do was send out mailers. And the city I live in, Taunton, it's 75% 21 and over. So I couldn't send out any mailers to homes. I tried putting up a billboard. I ran into that real quick. That electronic billboard is a waste of money, because I drove by that thing 20 times. I might have seen it once. I mean, we've done so many things. Social media. I mean, we've been kicked off Facebook a few times. Instagram, like trying to navigate that. It's been a.
We lost your audio again.
We lost him again.
So we lost your audio, Phil. Either way, that's great insight and great experience. You know, both of you have really been through the ringer, clearly, trying to make this stuff work. I have to end our webinar now because we've come up on 45 minutes, and I want to thank both of you. Do you have one last thing you want to say, Jerry? You got.
You know, I think the key is, you know, when you get people in your store, that's the best way to market your delivery. We do about 1,000 to 1,500 people a day at the greenhouse in Walled Lake, so we're very fortunate. We're blessed to have that many customers come through our door. We had little business cards made up that says we deliver, and we put all the information on. We put it in every bag. Every day you get one in your bag. That's how we let people know. Because I'm not interested in putting up a billboard for delivery and trying to bring outside people to just get delivery. I want to bring people into my store. And I want delivery for the people that are in my store, because they're my customers. I don't want delivery to be for people that aren't my customers. I want to deliver to my people that need it. Like if they're medical and they can't walk or things like that, that's the necessity. I don't want customers that just want weed delivery. I want the people to come in the store. And so we promote within, you know, we promote on our website, but, you know, we put that card in everybody's bag so they know that they have that choice. If they want delivery, they'll get it. And with all these customers coming through my door every day, we're still only doing 15 to 22 deliveries a day, you know, so it's that amount of people of my customers that want delivery, I feel. So, but I offer it as a convenience.
All right. Both of you, this has been amazing. It's been really insightful. I want to thank Phil Smith in Taunton of Freshly Baked in Taunton, Massachusetts, and Jerry Millen, owner of Greenhouse in Walled Lake, Michigan. Our sponsors, Englewood Construction and Grown In Learning. And everyone, please sign up for our next webinar, which is going to be on March 24th. Go to grownin.com/events. Our next webinar is going to be What's the Status of Social Equity in Cannabis? Thank you both very much for joining us today.
Thank you, guys. Take care, Phil. Good luck, brother. Keep fighting the fight.
Bro. Thanks, Mike.
Take care, guys. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.